I've been storm chasing for over 20 years, and these are the top 6 questions I've been asked as a storm chaser. The one I probably get asked the most is, how close do you get to a tornado? And the answer to that really depends on the strength of the tornado and what direction I am in relation to the tornado. The short answer is I like to get within a quarter of a mile. Now that may sound close, and it is. I wouldn't recommend getting that close. Even a mile is dangerous territory. But I've been known to actually get within a couple hundred yards. So it really comes down to that experience and what you're comfortable with as a storm chaser. Another question I get quite often is, how far do you go to chase? And the answer to that really depends. Most of my storm chases, I stick to Iowa. I might travel an hour to 4 hours. But I have gone as far as the Texas Panhandle, southeast Wyoming, and Colorado. And those are a multi-day type of chase. And I wouldn't rule out one day actually going to Canada and chasing in the Canadian prairie. Another question I get asked quite often is, do you chase for a news station? And I think that's a polite way of someone asking, do I get paid as a storm chaser? And the answer to both of those is no, with the exception of the revenue and generous contributions, wink wink, that I receive here on YouTube. Now there are a few, and I'm probably going to say there's like 4 storm chasers who actually earn a living chasing full time. One day I'd like to join that upper echelon of storm chasers, but it probably won't happen anytime soon. Now, before we get too far in this video, if you find yourself with questions that I'm not answering, please comment them below. I do read all the comments, and I'll respond to any questions that you have. So a follow-up question I get quite often is, how do you know when and where to chase? And this could be a video or a series of videos entirely on their own. But basically, I'm looking at what the Storm Prediction Center is saying, and that will basically give me an idea from 1 to 8 days in advance of where severe weather is expected in the country. And as we get closer and closer, I'm starting to look at models that forecast conditions and satellite and even your radar reflectivity in advance. Now I say that with some caution because I don't give them a lot of credit until basically 10 o'clock the morning of the event. If you have to make a decision though to chase out of state and decide whether or not it's worth it, then those models actually do become very important. So once you're out on the road, you have to decide what storm to chase. And that is a little bit of science and a little bit of art. And to do it well takes a lot of experience. I won't get into the finer details, but I'm essentially then relying on satellite radar and most importantly, what I'm looking at right there in front of me. And then a lot of it just comes down to luck. So if you got the right storm, or you didn't, or nothing happened at all, which happens quite often. So a question I believe a lot of people really take a lot of joy in asking is, have I ever been scared or been in a dangerous situation? And the answer to both of those, luckily, has been no. But there was a time that I was a little uncomfortable. My friend Corey and I were very young chasers, just out of high school, and this was our first chase outside of the state of Iowa. Just barely. We were in southeast Minnesota, and if you know anything about that area, there's a lot of trees and a lot of winding roads. Not good conditions to chase under. And we basically found ourselves in a little bit of a precarious situation. The thunderstorm that we had been following was tornado warned. We were in the back southwest quarter of the storm where all the dangerous stuff happens, and the sky was just doing some really strange stuff. It almost seemed like the clouds were just like weaving in and out of each other. I haven't seen anything like it, and I wasn't very experienced at the time, so it was a little bit concerning. We found ourselves looking at nothing but trees in front of us. We had a little bit of a clear sky, and just over our left shoulder, there was a farmhouse. And we were seriously considering running up there and asking for shelter. We decided to hold our breath, wait it out, and the storm passed. Never did see a tornado, and to my knowledge, a tornado never occurred, but it looked close. And basically from that point on, I vowed I'm never going to chase in the trees again. That's why you don't find me down in Dixie Alley and parts of the South. So that's as close as I've been to being in a dangerous spot. People often like to know, do I chase alone or with a partner? And the answer is, I do chase alone. I would recommend, though, especially those who are starting out, definitely chase with other chasers, especially someone with experience. But strangely enough, except for the very early days when I went chasing with my best friend Corey, anytime someone has gone with me, we've never seen a tornado. Most of the times because a tornado never happened, but it just seems to be my luck that no one can ever experience a tornado with me. So I go alone. I do go very prepared, and my wife definitely knows where I'm chasing before I leave. And you might be wondering, well, did she ever go chasing with you? And she did. When we first started dating, we went out on a few chases. And the first one in particular, we were on the backside of a storm, not really in any danger at all, but there was a lot of outflow wind. And this big gust blew a bunch of corn stalks right in front of us. And that was enough to really kind of shake her, make her question what she was doing. But at the end of the chase, she actually enjoyed it, and we went on a few more. But the truth is, storm chasing is a lot of driving. And if you get bored easily, it is not a hobby for you. You know, I'll drive for 8-10 hours for about 15 minutes of action. And that just isn't for everyone, wife included. So that's why I chase alone. So these were the 6 most commonly asked questions I get as a storm chaser. As a reminder, ask more if you feel you have some that are unanswered. And until next time, chase on, my friends.